Welcome back to Podcast and Chill. I'm Gwen, and I'm here with the one and only Leo.
How's it going, everyone? So, today's topic is one that's sure to make you feel all kinds of things.
What's that, Leo?
It is first dates.
No way. You'd better be joking.
Why not? I mean, who hasn't been there, right? The nerves, the excitement, the sweating palms. Yikes.
Say no more, Leo. First dates are indeed a mix of thrills and fears. But I remember being so nervous before my first date, I almost threw up.
I bet many of our listeners share the same experience. But don't worry, we're going to help you feel a lot more comfortable thinking about your next first date or even getting ready for one.
Well, I'm not sure how today's episode will turn out. But anyway, let's grab a coffee, sit back, and dive in.
And don't forget, we have a free PDF to help you work on these tips.
Make sure to create a copy so you can edit it for your own goals.
So, let's dig into why first dates feel like such a big deal. Gwen, why do you think people get so worked up about them?
Well, obviously, it's the first time you're meeting someone who might end up being your partner.
And?
And you really want to make a good first impression.
I mean, it usually takes a while to really get to know someone, right? So, if you don't nail it on the first date, isn't there still time?
I wish it were that simple. Here's the thing. Studies show people size each other up in the first few minutes.
Seriously?
Yeah. Isn't it crazy how quickly we decide if we're into someone or not?
For real? No wonder there's so much pressure to make those first moments count. That's a lot to handle.
Totally. It's like, you never know who might end up being the one, so no one wants to mess up their first date.
That's a solid point. You're on to something there.
Imagine meeting someone new, hoping for that spark. But then the nerves kick in, and suddenly it feels like a roller coaster.
No kidding. You're sitting there thinking, do they like me? Do I like them? It's this crazy mix of butterflies and overthinking.
I remember freaking out over what to wear for my first date. Spent way too much time trying on outfits.
Oh, totally relatable. Speaking of which, let's dive into those common first date fears.
What do you think is the number one thing people worry about?
Oh, hands down, saying something stupid. You know, you're chatting, and suddenly you're like, wait, did I just say something dumb?
It's like having two conversations at the same time. One with your date and another one in your head, overthinking everything.
Exactly. And that inner dialogue just makes you even more nervous.
And then there's the dreaded silence when your joke doesn't land. You immediately spiral into a pit of self-doubt.
Oh, I hear you. Even if they do laugh, you start overanalyzing. Are they laughing because they're into me or just being polite?
And of course, there's the big one. What if they don't like me?
Ugh, that one's brutal. The whole time, you're sitting there wondering, are they checking their phone under the table? Are they already thinking of an excuse to leave?
Right? But you know what? Everyone has these worries. You're not alone in feeling nervous or wondering what the other person is thinking.
So true. And honestly, the best thing you can do is stop overthinking. Just enjoy the date. It's about making a connection, not being perfect.
Exactly. Once you relax and focus on having a good time, the nerves will fade and the real fun begins.
My question is, how can we not worry and get relaxed?
Yeah, I admit it's easier said than done. The one and only way is to prepare well for it.
What's your go-to tip for getting ready for a first date? Any advice to keep those pre-date jitters in check?
Oh, for sure. First things first, you should wear something comfy.
Really? Shouldn't we wear something nice instead?
If you're comfortable, you're more confident. In fact, a study from Psychology of Fashion found that people who feel comfortable in their clothing are more likely to have positive social interactions.
Got it. So we should aim at feeling good about ourselves, not stucking in something too tight or awkward.
Trust me, my dear listeners, it makes a world of difference.
And while we're on the topic of relaxing, picking the right spot is huge.
I'm with you. A cozy coffee shop or a chill park is way less stressful than some super fancy restaurant.
That makes so much sense. You don't want to be worried about formalities or which fork to use. A laid-back spot gives you room to really talk and get to know each other.
And having a few conversation topics prepared helps too.
Yep. Think about stuff you're into, like your favorite movies, hobbies, or dream travel spots. It's great for avoiding those awkward silences.
Totally. A little prep can go a long way in making the date feel natural and, most importantly, fun.
All right, Gwen, let's go over some new vocabulary for today. First, get worked up. It means to become upset, angry, or emotional about something. For example, don't get worked up over a small mistake. It's not a big deal.
Second, size somebody up. It means to quickly judge or evaluate someone. For example, he sized up his opponent before the match started.
Third, make something count. It means to make the most of an opportunity or time. For example, we only have one chance to present, so let's make it count.
Fourth, kick in. It means to start to have an effect or begin to work. For example, the painkiller will kick in after about 20 minutes.
Finally, go a long way. It means to be very helpful or make a big difference. For example, a little kindness can go a long way in building good relationships.
Now let's discuss two questions about our topic. First question is, why do you think people get so nervous about them?
I think it's because it's the first time you meet someone who might end up being your partner, and you want to make a good impression.
That's a good point. The second question is, how do you think we can stop overthinking and relax during a first date?
I think the key is to prepare well for the date, like picking a comfortable outfit and choosing a chill place to meet.
Great advice. And to our listeners, what do you do to calm your nerves before a first date?
Share your answers in the comment section below. Now it's time to dive into the do's and don'ts of a first date. What's one thing you definitely should do?
For starters, really listen and show genuine interest.
Agreed. Asking our dates about their hobbies, what they've been up to, or what they're passionate about is definitely what we should do. It makes them feel like they matter.
People love it when you're actually paying attention. It's a great way to build a real connection.
And keep things easygoing and authentic. Don't overthink it or try to impress them too much. Just be yourself and enjoy the moment.
What about the don'ts? What's a big red flag on a first date?
Oh, this one's big. Don't keep looking at your phone. Nothing screams, "I'd rather not be here," like scrolling through Instagram while they're talking.
It's such a turnoff. Folks, remember to put the phone away and actually focus on the person in front of you.
And here's another one. Stay away from touchy topics like politics, money, or your ex.
Those can get awkward fast and bring the mood down.
Stick with light, fun topics that keep the conversation flowing and everyone at ease.
The goal is to keep it chill and natural.
Let the conversation unfold and just have a good time.
Yep, just go with the flow and you will be good.
And hey, it's not just about what you say. Body language is huge.
Oh, absolutely. Body language can make or break a first date.
Totally. Studies show that nonverbal cues, like smiling and eye contact, are a big deal when it comes to first impressions.
No doubt. Sometimes your body language says more than your words. A genuine smile? That's like a green light. It shows you're friendly and open.
I couldn't agree more. A smile really puts the other person at ease. And eye contact? That's a game changer. It shows you're listening and genuinely interested.
For sure, just don't overdo it. You don't want to creep them out.
Yeah, exactly. It's a date, not a staring contest. Keep it natural.
And let's talk posture. Sitting up straight, leaning in a little, it says, "Hey, I'm into this."
Right. But if you're slouching, crossing your arms, or fidgeting like you've had too much coffee, it might come across as nervous or uninterested.
That definitely sounds like something you do.
Guilty as charged?
Well, now you know.
Yep. So remember, a real smile, just the right amount of eye contact, and a relaxed, open posture. That's the secret sauce to nailing that first impression. Gwen, let's be real. Awkward moments on first dates are pretty much inevitable. How do you handle those uncomfortable pauses?
First, do not freak out. A little humor can go a long way. Crack a light-hearted joke or make fun of the situation. It can break the ice and get you both laughing.
I love that. It shows you're easygoing and don't take yourself too seriously. Laughing together definitely eases the tension.
But if joking around doesn't feel right, switch gears and ask an open-ended question.
For example,
Something like, "What's been the best part of your week?" It gets the conversation flowing and takes the pressure off.
that's such a solid move.
When you ask about their life or interests, it shows you're genuinely curious, and they'll probably appreciate that.
So it's a win-win.
And here's another tip. Don't be afraid to just call out the awkwardness. Saying something like, "Well, this is a little awkward, isn't it?" can actually make things less awkward.
It's like giving permission to both of you to just laugh it off.
Plus, it makes you seem super down to earth.
Love it. I'm stealing that for my next date.
Go for it. You'll thank me later.
So, Gwen, what do you think? If a first date goes really well, does that mean it's the start of something serious?
It could be, but not necessarily.
What do you mean by not necessarily?
A great first date doesn't automatically mean you're headed for a long-term relationship. Sometimes it's just about having a fun, enjoyable time with someone, and that's totally fine.
That's a good point. But if it does go well, it's a great opportunity to suggest meeting up again.
Sure, you can say something like, "I had such a good time today. Want to do this again soon?"
That's the perfect way to show you're interested and want to keep the connection going.
Plus, it keeps things light and easy.
But let's flip it. What if it doesn't feel like a great match? How should you handle that?
If there's no spark, the key is to stay respectful. Thank them for the date and keep it polite. But don't give mixed signals or lead them on.
And you don't have to feel guilty about it. Not every date is going to be the one. It's all part of the process.
Every date, good or bad, is a chance to learn more about yourself and what you're looking for. It's all about the experience.
Couldn't agree more. All right, Gwen, I think it's time to go over some more key vocabulary from today's discussion. First, turn off. It means something that makes you lose interest or feel less attracted to someone or something. For example, rudeness is a big turnoff for me in a conversation.
Second, make or break. It means something that will either lead to success or failure. For example, this presentation is a make or break moment for the project.
Third, call out. It means to point out someone's mistake or behavior, often publicly. For example, she called him out for being late to every meeting.
Fourth, down to earth. It means to be practical, humble, and easy to talk to. For example, despite her success, she's very down to earth and approachable.
Finally, lead somebody on. It means to give someone false hope or expectations, especially in a relationship. For example, he didn't want to date her, but kept leading her on with mixed signals. All right, Gwen, here's a question for you.
What is it?
Why do you think listening and showing genuine interest are important on a first date?
I would say it's because it helps build a real connection and shows you care about the other person's thoughts and feelings.
That makes sense. Now, it's your turn to ask me a question.
What's one big red flag on a first date that people should avoid?
In my opinion, it's checking your phone. Don't do that. It can make the other person feel ignored and unimportant.
I totally agree.
So, there you have it. The first date doesn't have to be perfect, right?
Totally. The most important thing is to just be yourself.
And no matter how it goes, every first date is a chance to connect and learn something new.
Even if it doesn't work out, you've still gained experience.
Plus, those awkward moments, they can make for hilarious stories later.
Couldn't agree more. So, what about you, listeners? Do you have any funny or interesting first date stories?
We'd love to hear them. Maybe your first date was a total disaster, but it turned into a great memory.
Or maybe it was amazing, and you just knew it was meant to be. Either way, send us your stories. We're all ears.
Thank you all for joining us on today's episode of Podcast and Chill. I'm Leo.
And I'm Gwen. Remember, first dates are about getting to know someone new and having fun. Just enjoy the ride.